Hello students, welcome to Gate Masters Academy online classes. Today we are going to discuss an important subject called structural analysis. Yes, so structural analysis has a good amount of weightage in various examinations like engineering service, GATE and AE, AEE, and also it has a good amount of weightage in other competitive examinations. So let us look into the weightage of this subject. If you look at AEE, it has a weightage about 20 to 25 marks. Sometimes the number may be increased in few examinations, and if you look at AE, can expect about 15 to 18 marks. Yes. Now if you look at the weightage in engineering service, as engineering service has two levels of examinations. One is prelims examination, that is an objective exam, and other one is mains, which is in a descriptive manner, right. So in a descriptive manner you can expect about 80 to 90 marks, but when it comes to the objective, in which all the subjects will be given in one or single paper, so there you can have weightage about 15 to 20 marks again, right. And again in SSC JE you can expect about 10 to 12 marks, because in SSC JE generally it is diploma level, so the weightage will be comparatively low, right. So let us look into the references which you have to refer for this particular subject. Generally class notes and the study material which is provided is sufficient, but if you wanted to learn even better, if you wanted to understand in a better way, then in that case you can go for the standard references. But I strongly recommend you that first you need to go through the study material and your class notes and practice the questions, right. If you wanted to learn the subject in a better way and you wanted to earn the knowledge in a structural analysis, then you can refer any standard references. I am going to provide a couple of standard references, and you can also use references of your choice, right. So the references are, first one is R.C. Hibbeler, and other one is Bhavikatti. Second one is Bhavikatti. Yes. So among these two, first one is a very standard reference. If you refer R.C. Hibbeler, then you will be having varieties of questions, and the greatest advantage of R.C. Hibbeler that you have a question which can cover the entire knowledge of the topic, right. And if you solve all kinds of problems, then you can handle any type of problems when you face in a real field, right. But the disadvantage of this reference, that it has more number of unsolved questions. You have more number of unsolved questions. So if you could solve all the questions, then you will be gaining a good amount of knowledge, and you can handle any type of situation when it comes to the examination or when it comes to the practical applications, right. And you can also refer Bhavikatti, as we are habituated with the Indian author references, so you can refer this author reference also, and you can also refer any other references which you feel provides a good amount of knowledge, right. Yes. So this about the weightage as well as the references. Now let us look into the course content or syllabus for especially AE and AEEs, right. So the course content for structure analysis, so now onwards I will be using subject name with the shortcut SA, right. So the first topic which we are going to discuss, that is basics of structural analysis. Basics of structure analysis. So in basics of structure analysis, we are going to discuss what is the basic definition of structure analysis, and what are the assumptions and what are the basic structures and the equilibrium equations, support conditions, support reactions, right, and what are the different types of frames with respect to their joints, frames as well as trusses. Okay. So, this topic will give an idea that what we are going to use throughout the subject. So, that is only called basics of structure analysis, right. So, second topic is determinacy and indeterminacy. Determinacy and indeterminacy. So, in this topic we are going to discuss what is a determinate structure and what is an indeterminate structure, and what are the conditions to identify whether the given structure is a determinate or indeterminate. And we are also looking into the differences between determinate and indeterminate structure, so that we will be getting an idea that which structure is supposed to be designed, whether it is determinate structure or indeterminate structure, right. After this, we will be discussing analysis of determinate trusses. Analysis of determinate trusses. Yes. So, in analysis of trusses, first you need to understand what is the type of force developed in a trusses. Okay. Or as you know, on every structure or on every member we apply the load. So, due to that load, some type of forces are experienced by the member, that is called the force developed in the member, right. So, in a trusses, the type of force which is developed is axial force. So, what we need to do? We have to determine the member force. Okay. Member force is nothing but the force which is developed in a particular member due to the external load, right. So, in this topic we are going to discuss what are the assumptions made in a truss, because a truss is something different from frames or beams, right, and we will be looking into the different methods which are available to determine the member forces, right. After this, we have a next topic called basic methods of structural analysis. Basic methods of structural analysis. So, this topic will give an idea that what are the methods available for analyzing any type of structures. Okay. But why have mentioned structure analysis? Because the structural analysis deals with indeterminate structures especially, right. So, if you wanted to analyze an indeterminate structure, then you have to know that what are the methods available, right. But for determinate structure analysis, we do not use any methods. Determinate structure analysis will be done based on equilibrium equations only. If you wanted to analyze an indeterminate structure, then equilibrium equations will not be sufficient, you have to use other equations also. That is the reason those other equations will be depending on, or other equations will be giving what kind of method or what is the type of method you have to use, so that analysis can be done, right. So, the real subject is going to start from this topic, that is basic methods of structure analysis. Before that, as we have three topics, they are only the basics or the basic topics which are having applications in a structure analysis, right. So, in a basic methods of structure analysis, we are going to discuss majorly two methods, which is a force and displacement method, and then we will be discussing when to use a force method and when to use a displacement method, because both the methods are used for indeterminate structure analysis. Then when to prefer a force method and when to prefer a displacement method. I mean to say, we are going to discuss what is the reason to choose a particular method for a given indeterminate structure. After this, we are going to discuss energy methods. In energy methods, we are going to see how to determine the redundant reactions in case of beams, in case of frames as well as trusses. Means it is also related to analysis of indeterminate structure. But we also have the concept of determination of displacements by using various methods. Okay. If you get the displacement, then by using displacement compatibility, you can go for determination of the unknown forces, right. So, majorly we are going to discuss three methods in energy method. One is called strain energy method, and second one is called Castigliano's theorem, and third one is called unit load method. By using these methods, we will look into the unknowns called displacements first, and then after that we will also look into how to determine the redundant reactions or the additional unknown forces. Yes. After this, we have a next topic, moment distribution method. Moment distribution method. Yes, this is one of the important topic for all kinds of examinations. If you look at especially engineering service or civil service means, that is called descriptive exam, there you can expect one long question, especially for 20 to 25 marks, and this is one of the simple topic compared to all other topics. So, in a moment distribution method, we are going to discuss that moment distribution method is falling under particular category of indeterminate structure analysis. Okay. So, as we have discussed, there are two categories, one is called force category, other is a displacement category, right. So, this method is falling under displacement category, and we will be discussing that for which configurations you can apply moment distribution method, because in an indeterminate structure we have a different configurations, we have a beams, we have a frames, trusses, arches, right. Arch is nothing but it is a curved structure, right. So, for which type of structure we can apply moment distribution method, and how to determine the final moment. Why? Because either use force method or displacement method, our aim is to determine the final moment value, okay, moment or shear force supposed to be determined. So, we are going to discuss how to determine the final moment, especially in case of indeterminate structure, by using moment distribution method, right. So, after this we have a next topic called slope deflection method. Slope deflection method. Frankly speaking, slope deflection method and moment distribution method both are falling under same category, that is called displacement category. But what is the major difference between them? When moment distribution method is available, why we have to study slope deflection method? So, in a slope deflection method, what we are going to do, we are going to determine the joint displacements, especially in case of indeterminate structures. But when it comes to the moment distribution method, we are not looking into the joint displacements, we are finding final moments directly without taking into account the joint displacements. What we do, we take joint displacements as unit values, and then we go for determination of the final moment by using moment distribution method. And by using slope deflection method, we can determine the joint displacements first, and then after that you can determine the final moments, right. So, if you have given a question to determine the joint displacements, then it is better to prefer a slope deflection method. Once you get joint displacement, then after that you can go for determination of final moments. But in a moment distribution method, what we do, we directly determine the final moment value, right. So, if you are looking to get the final values, they are called shear force and moments, then it is better to prefer moment distribution method. But you have asked displacements, joint displacements, then you have to prefer slope deflection method. And even slope deflection method has applications in other topics. So, that is the reason you have to understand even slope deflection method also, right. After this, we are going to discuss a Carney's method. Carney's method. So, basically this topic name is not a Carney's, the topic name is rotational contribution method. Rotation contribution method. rotation contribution method. Since it is developed by Gaspar Canny, that is the reason it is called Canny's method, right. So, in a Canny's method, what we are going to do? See, Canny's method, moment distribution method, slope deflection method, all are falling under same category, that is called displacement category, okay. But when we have one method, why we have to study other methods like slope deflection and Canny's method? But I have given an idea about slope deflection method, right. What is the importance of Canny's method? See, when you use a moment distribution method or slope deflection method, they are suitable only for beams and single story frames, okay. If you are using a frame, you have to have a frame that is called single story frame. But what happens if you take more than one floor or more than one story frames? You cannot analyze by using those two methods, right. So, that is the reason this method plays a major role in case of multi-story structures, okay. So, this method is applicable not only to beams and frames with a single story, but also with a multi-story frames, right. And this method is an extension of slope deflection method, okay. It means the concept of slope deflection methods are utilized and it is made into the simplification that can be applicable for the multi-story structures also, right. So, that is the reason this method is useful for multi-story structures as well as for simple structures also. After this topic, we are going to discuss a matrix method. Matrix method. Yes. So, basically if you look at moment distribution or slope deflection or Canny's method, they have some limitations, that is they are applicable for beams and frames only, they are not applicable for trusses and curved type of members, right. So, now you are wondering that which method I can apply so that it can be suitable for all type of configurations, right. So, that is the reason we have a matrix method. So, this matrix method has no limitations, it can be suitable for any type of configurations and any type of structures. You can take a determinate structure, you can take indeterminate structure, and it may be a truss, frame, or it may be a curved type of structure, and it may have inclined beams, inclined columns, it may have any configuration, but it must be a structure, right. So, matrix method is suitable for any type of structures, and the greatest advantage of matrix method that if you wanted to understand other complex structures, then you have to understand the basics of matrix, right. And again, if you wanted to understand the softwares which are used in civil engineering, okay. So, software will be having in a back end, there will be programming, right. So, if you wanted to understand the programming, or the programming will be done based on the matrices only, right. Okay. So, computer can understand only matrix, right. So, that is the reason if you wanted to develop any programs or any softwares, like it may be a STAAD or it may be a CAD or it may be any other softwares, analysis or design softwares. So, they are based on the matrices only, right. So, that is the reason it is better to understand the basics of matrix method in a structure analysis. So, let me give you where we are going to have the applications of matrix method. This matrix method will make you to understand in a better way in case of structural dynamics and stability of structures. And there is one more structure which is very famous and you also know, that is finite element analysis. So, this is one of the very important subject and it is a trending subject which you can see in real practice, right. So, the real world or the civil engineering world is going to depend on finite element analysis. So, finite element analysis is mainly based on the matrix method, right. So, after this we are going to discuss plastic analysis. Plastic analysis. So, basically this plastic analysis has applications in steel structures, it is not having applications in structure analysis, but it has a concepts of structure analysis as well as strength of material. So, that is the reason we are also taking a plastic analysis, right. So, in a plastic analysis, we will be dealing with the plastic hinge, and we will be dealing with the different type of curves. What is a elastic curve, or what is a elastoplastic curve, or what is a plastic curve, and then we will be discussing how to determine the length of plastic hinge and how to determine the shape factors, load factors, and then after that we will be looking into the term called ultimate load or collapse load. Okay. So, generally in a plastic analysis, what we do, we determine the collapse load. So, to find collapse load, there are a couple of methods available and we will be discussing them in detail. Yes. Next topic is arches and cables. Arches and cables. Okay. So, basically arches are nothing but curved structures, and even cable is also curved structure. But the major difference between arch and cable, that cable is a flexible material which can take only tension, but whereas arch is a kind of rigid material which can take compression as well as tension, right. And moreover, as I said, these are curved type of structures. So, whenever you take a curved type of structure, or whenever you have a structure with other component, obviously there will be an horizontal reaction in addition to the vertical reactions. Okay. Why I am saying in addition to vertical reactions, but if you take beams, in beams only vertical reactions are used, horizontal reactions are not used, or they are neglected. But whereas in arches or in cables, we have to consider the horizontal reaction also, right. Even in frames also we consider, but the major difference between arch and beam is that in arch we are having additional reaction, that is in terms of horizontal thrust. Yes. After this, the next topic is three moments theorem. Three moments theorem, or it is also called as Clapeyron's three moment theorem, since it is given by Clapeyron. And in the same topic, we are also looking into the other method called column analogy method. Column analogy method. Yes. So, this is about complete syllabus. Okay. So, you got an idea that what we are going to discuss or what we are going to see throughout this subject called structure analysis. Okay.